Welcome to Trail Shoes Reviewed. Today I'm comparing the HOKA Stinson 7 with the Hoka Challenger 8. They're completely different shoes on the foot when it comes to performance, stability and feel. Also, they can be used for hiking and performance, but they feel different for both. So I'm going to compare these differences so you have a better idea of which one will work best for you. When we look at the Stinson 7, you can see it's got a massive amount of cushioning underfoot. So we've Hoka's classic CMEVA cushioning, but it feels different than the CMEVA cushioning that we see in the Challenger 8. We've got 45 mils in the rear foot of cushioning and 40 in the forefoot, so that's a huge amount of padding underneath your foot, with Hoka's classic 5 mil difference from the back to the front of the shoe. In contrast to that, we saw a major upgrade from the Challenger 7 to the Challenger 8, so it's now transitioned to an 8 mil drop with 42 mils in the rear foot, 34 in the forefoot. So that's 6 mils less cushioning and padding underneath the forefoot compared to the Stinson 7. That allows a little bit more flex in the forefoot for those of you who prefer that, whereas it's super rigid, extremely inflexible in the Stinson 7. This is an excellent option if you've got issues with your big toe in terms of arthritis, hallux rigidus, or if you need or get any sensitivity underneath the ball of your foot, you're going to have ample protection here in the Stinson 7. But that's not where the differences stop. So underneath the shoe, we've got 4 mil multi-directional lugs in the Challenger 8, which provides adequate grip on more light to moderate technical terrain, but can also be used on road running. Whereas in the Stinson 7, we've got even less grip, so we've got 3 mils underneath, so that makes it more useful for road running, as you won't feel the lugs as prominently as what you do with a deeper lug shoe. Also, they're a little bit broader and a little bit flatter underfoot, which means they don't give as much grip on muddy terrain or on wet terrain, especially as we move onto the mountains and that more technical terrain underfoot. And part of that has got to do with the bulk of the shoe, which makes it a little bit less nimble, and it's also quite a bit heavier than what we see in the Challenger 8, coming in at 360 grams versus 387 grams in Challenger 8 in the size 9 men's US. So this is a chunky tank of a shoe that provides huge amounts of support and stability, and one of the key reasons for this is it has a H-frame built into the midsole. So that's denser foam that runs along the outside of both sides of the shoe and across the middle of the shoe to provide stability going through the middle of the shoe, trying to keep you centered, but also torsional stability for when you're changing directions and moving at speed. So it focuses on helping to control pronation moments by keeping you centered in the shoe throughout the whole gait cycle, rather than having those classic medial arch support which is moving out of most running and trail shoes. In contrast to that, in the Challenger 8 we've got a bit more of a responsive midsole underneath your foot. It's a bit springier, a bit bouncier than what we see in the Stinson, which is quite rigid. It doesn't have a H-frame built into it, but it does have some sidewalls on the inside and the outside of the heel, alongside a stiff heel counter to help cradle your heel and your ankle to provide ample support and help to control those pronation forces when you initiate contact with the ground. It's got a nice 4-foot rocker which facilitates the push-off phase of the gait cycle, especially when you're running or walking on flat surfaces. And as we move up on top of the shoe, we've got an increased width in the toe box on the Challenger 8, and it comes in a wide version as well, and we've got even more space in the Stinson 7, and this also comes in a wide version, so those of you with a broader foot may enjoy having the Stinson 7 in terms of the toe box space. We've got plenty of abrasive cushioning and padding around the toe box on the Stinson 7, with a little bit less on the Challenger 8. However, neither of them have any protection if you hit a rock or a branch on the front of the shoe. So as we move further up, we've got a nice padded tongue on both shoes that are gusseted, a bit more padding on the heel cup on the Stinson 7 than on the Challenger 8, but still ample overall and plenty for the majority of the population. So where do these shoes lie in terms of everyday use? So if you wanted to use them for normal walking or hiking or walking along trails and forests, they're both excellent options. They'll cover all your bases in terms of wet, muddy terrain if you want to just use them for walking. However, when it comes to moving at speed and performance, well, the Stinson 7 just doesn't have the amount of grip underneath your foot as the Challenger 8 does, with those deeper lugs and those more narrow platform to make it a little bit more nimble when moving and changing direction, especially on more technical terrain. So the Stinson 7 is a little bit bomb-proof when it comes to light, muddy, technical terrain and for everyday use in terms of forests and hiking. The Challenger 8 is a bit more of a do-it-all shoe, can be used for running on the road and for light to moderate technical terrain in terms of mountains or alpine runs. So they're excellent shoes overall. We've got a lighter, more nimble, more responsive road to trail shoe in the Challenger 8. We've got an absolute tank of a shoe with plenty of stability and support and protection in the Stinson 7. However, if you've got any questions on either of them, please drop them in the comment section below. If you'd like to purchase the shoes, we've got links in the description if you want to check out the latest price on Amazon. Otherwise, if you found the video helpful or interesting, like, share and subscribe, it makes a massive difference to us.